have me talk about a delay in informing someone of his passing. I see a symbol of an underscore, and that always to me is actually my symbol for referencing to a delay.
I was the last to know.
Gotcha.
I missed the phone call.
Ah, okay.
It was very jarring.
There's just this feeling of like, I'm sorry that that was your introduction to grief. Because that shouldn't have been the case.
Thank you.
So he's very aware of the circumstances. He just didn't want to leave a mess with this situation. And
I was not expecting to need to hear that. It was just something that I was like, oh, this is how it happened. This is how death happens. But like the trauma in that small moment has affected me in so many ways. I just feel such a release right now knowing that he knew that that was going on. Well, my grandfather, he's very stubborn and funny. He has a very dry, dark sense of humor. I'm the closest with him in my family. I really like him. It's really been concerning me. It's just been, I mean, bad. They had a pipe burst in his house and it got so bad that he had mushrooms growing in his carpet and he wouldn't tell anybody about it. Like, this is how stubborn this man is. So, you know, it's been deeply concerning me. Like, I don't know how sick he really is because he won't tell anybody how sick he really is.
They're having me talk about residents and a whole family conversation about like an intervention, people coming in and having to basically make a decision. And it looks like this is something to me that I don't feel super comfortable with because I feel like there might be like differences in opinion or it's just one of those things where we're gonna have to kind of be patient
know
with it.
exactly what I'm talking about. My mother and I feel that he should be hospitalized or have a full-time nurse or be in some sort of care to get the help that he needs because he like just refuses it and will not acknowledge, you know, that he's even ill, even though he's very, very ill. Yeah, he had a big surgery for that, and I always joke with him that he needs to eat more Brazil nuts because they're supposed to be good for your prostate.
I am curious if there's anything coming from any one of my friends that has passed.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what happens. Okay. So the way that this is coming through is basically, I feel like I have to highlight this man. And the way that I would describe this, if I'm kind of connecting with this guy, it feels like this person was very young. It's interesting, when he comes through, he's showing me, weirdly, a monkey on someone's back, which usually indicates having an issue, something that you can't let go of. Wow. Man. They're showing me an IV, and that always indicates like something we would put into our bodies. But I feel like I am under the influence of some form of a substance. But then the weird thing is this person didn't necessarily take more than they were used to. There's something weird because I feel like before there had been this period where they hadn't abused drugs and their tolerance went down. And there's this feeling of, well, this old amount I would have been fine with, but my body's tolerance went down in some capacity. So there's an acknowledgement of this. There's more to this. Is bringing up a female contemporary. Do you know if he had a sister or a girlfriend?
Sister.
Sister. He just keeps bringing up the message towards his sister, basically like the ambiguity thing.
Yeah.
Like she really needs to know that he did not mean to kill himself. Like this was not intentional in the way that it feels. In the months leading up to his passing, I just feel like someone from his past may have kind of either triggered him or put him in some form of a headspace where doing this now would feel like a good idea. Someone just kind of was like, hey, wanna go do this? And then he couldn't not. It's like this person shouldn't have been, that influence shouldn't have been in any way there to trigger me almost. And it kind of comes through.
Yeah.
So that's very much for sister in this way.
Yeah.
Does that make some sense?
100%. My friend Kevin, he lived a couple blocks away from me growing up, and we lost touch. And then I randomly saw him at a recovery meeting, and You know, he was like fresh out of jail and had 60 days of sobriety, and we just kind of picked up a new relationship. We were kids growing up, but you know, him carrying like the monkey on his back, he had very intense anxiety, and it often led him back to relapse.
The horrible thing about this is that it feels like he keeps having me talk about, it doesn't make any sense, going out on a high note, going out on a high note. As odd as it sounds, he's showing me music and he's showing me an arrow, which always references to the future. He's not done, he says. It could mean that what he wasn't able to achieve here, he feels like he'll see some follow through that other people will do in his honor or in his legacy. If they helped create something, then we release the song. It's that kind of thing of like, my name's gonna be attached to it even though I'm not physically here. And by launching this, it honors me. So I know it's a lot to take in, but does any of that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you have yet to release since he's passed?
Mm-hmm.
I need you to know that he feels like doing this, he's gonna be able to get the notoriety he wanted and the fame he wanted. Has that been on the plan?
No, but it makes sense.
Good.
You know, right before he died, that night before, they were in the studio. Like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna make an album, we're gonna celebrate, we're gonna make this. And the last song that they made was like this super positive, like, we're gonna, like, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a rapper. I was like, you know, if you can get a week sober, you can come to the studio and record. And he got a week, and we went to the studio and he recorded 4 songs, and he was just super pumped. It was like this celebratory moment. We're driving home. I dropped him off at his crib, and I got a phone call from his sister the next day. He had, as you said, his tolerance was at a certain point. He had got 7 days sober, so his tolerance went to another point. I think that he took the same amount of drugs that he normally would take, and he overdosed. And you know, he did struggle with suicidal thoughts, but I do believe that it was completely a tolerance thing, like you said, and it wasn't anything intentional. So all of that was spot on.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he came through.
Yeah. Yeah, and just hearing like that he wanted that music to come out or wanted to be, it was very much like him.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's like I have a song named after him,
Wow.
but I can just see him being like, man, you better put out my music.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
yeah. Kevin was family to me. I very much felt like that was my little brother and someone that I wanted to see win so bad, because you see so much potential, and he just happened to have a disease that wants to kill him. And I share that same disease. You know, you feel it when someone relapses. You feel that pain, because I've relapsed. I know what that feels like. It was and is very, very hard. But it wasn't intentional. I think that that's an important message, not only for me to hear, but for Kevin's family to hear. He didn't pick up that drug that night thinking that that was gonna be the thing that killed him. All of that was like extremely specific. No Googling could have been done to get any of that information whatsoever.
I don't think anybody knows that.
It's so weird.
We're gonna replace those windows right there.
Was this a conversation that would have just been had recently?
A couple days ago.
Okay.
Oh
I
my
know.
goodness.
That's strange.
I know, see? You never know who's watching over you.
Never do, or watching your windows.
Listening to your window conversations.
Well, if only they would wash them.
Yeah, I know.
That'd be much more
Yeah.
convenient.
Can you pass that message back?
I am.
Okay, thank you.
Grab the Windex. At this point, I'll ask you, who did this belong to?
Robert. Oh. Yeah, turn it over.
Yes.
You'll see.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so special. What an amazing
Really
thing
cool.
to get to have.
Yeah.
Look, obviously, when people watch the show, they're gonna think in watching this, well, of course Tyler's gonna connect to Robert Kardashian, because of course that's who everybody knows. But for me, I find oftentimes the more ambiguous, the random details, like the window thing, and those are the
window
details.
thing nobody would know,
Right,
because
right.
I've never mentioned it to one person.
I believe that all of those details, came from him and are his way of connecting.
Well, that's exactly why it's important.
I have been really eager to meet with Tyler, who is a medium. He's still young. He's 19, I think. These are my sisters.
Oh my gosh, great to meet you.
You too.
Great to meet
Nice
you.
to meet
I actually
you.
know your cousin, Cara.
Hi. he works with my cousin all the time. So I feel like there's a family connection and almost it's like cosmic that I'm supposed to be meeting with him.
The general idea of how I do what I do is that I actually work as a clairvoyant. So I see information. As opposed to audibly hearing it, I get visuals.
Did you always know that you had like a gift?
When I was 10 years old, my grandmother was ill with terminal cancer, and as she was getting really ill, I woke up one night and knew she was going to pass. And we got the call 2 minutes later that my grandmother had passed.
Oh my God, wow.
And so that's kind of was a pretty dramatic moment, but I believe we all have an intuition, but to varying extents.
She always tells me she's psychic.
Well, I don't think I could read her palm, but I have a very great intuition.
Sure.
And I feel energies and spirits really well, and I'm not saying, like, oh my God, there's a ghost in the corner.
Right.
But I know when I feel something, and I pay that respect.
I think our intuition is almost like a compass that we have inside of us, and if we go with it, it can really drastically improve our life. So.
And if I haven't, like, how you see things or whatever, if that hasn't happened to me yet, like, would that never happen to me?
It's one of those things that you don't have to embrace, but if you chose to embrace it and chose to kind of connect and not be afraid of it, that's the biggest thing. Fear is the quickest way to shut something down. You definitely do have that really keen intuition. There's an individual who passed away in some form of either like a shooting or like their life was taken from them. That younger man that I was connecting with, how did he actually pass away?
In a shooting.
In a shooting.
My brother was killed in Barranquilla, Colombia in the 90s. It was a very dramatic thing. He was shot, and unfortunately, none of us was able to say goodbye.
There's some form of a move in the way this comes through. There's such a big emphasis on the move and making a move and wanting people to get out of somewhere. He wanted this move to happen.
After he was killed, we kind of like all came together, and I decided, since I was already living in the United States, to bring the rest of my family to where I was living in Florida. And Claudia, my niece, moved with her mom to Bogota, the capital.
The way this came in, it was interesting because a lot of the immediate emphasis has been on career. I think the career aspect is a good focus to be on, and they're having to talk about like what looks kind of like my symbol is for dilapidated buildings. That always just indicates like lower income places and places that need the help. You are actually going to be able to align with charity groups to help bring awareness.
So that's huge. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. I'm from the Bahamas, and we deal with a lot of hurricane issues, and a lot of my country gets slammed, and people's homes get destroyed. And I've been looking at ways to create, home structures that can withstand hurricane, but also be affordable. And I think I have a solution to that. So you saying that just kind of gives me a stamp of, I've been looking in the right direction.
That seems amazing. So that's honestly a big fulfilling life mission, I think, that you'll be able to do, and so that looks good.
The Bahamas hit really hard for me, in a positive way. It's where my heart is, so I want to be a positive force, and I want to be instrumental, and I feel beyond the calling to have more of an impact in my country there. We need a little more light shined on our country, and to be seen for more than just a beautiful vacation destination.
This is kind of interesting. I know this is random, and before we start, and before I even bring anyone through, when I'm connecting to your energy, I'm seeing boxes. And when I see boxes, that generally indicates that someone has a susceptibility to like a residential shift or a move.
Wow.
The thinking that's coming kind of through with this is it's basically commuting between two places. And the feeling is like,
Oh my
thumbs up,
God.
this is a good decision.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, where does that fit?
You're so dead on.
Yes? Well, it's a good thing.
There is a big move
Nice.
going on,
Right.
and I will be bi-coastal. Right now, there's boxes in my
Yeah.
house. Packed.
Right.
I'm not lying. I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
There's big,
It's a good thing.
yes,
You're headed in the
it's
right
great,
direction.
but
Yes.
you're awesome.
Oh, you are so sweet.
Everyone knows I live on the East Coast, but I'm moving to Los Angeles. So when he said that I see you transferring back and forth from one, the only people who know that is my immediates. No one would have known that, I kind of often struggle with, should I not? But Tyler made me come easy with it. I'm like, this is the right decision.